Hello and welcome to lesson 2 of the Christian Beliefs unit on God as omnipotent, loving and just. So essentially we're looking at the nature of God and this is lesson 2. Can I just remind you please that all information can be found on Show My Homework. What I'd like you to do, there is another document that sits on Show My Homework and you can access all the written information from this document. I'd like you to copy all the key terms from this document and do the activities. In addition to that, could you please write notes on the narrative that I am just about to divulge to you on God as omnipotent, loving and just. Okay. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Murray for making the time and giving me all the content so I can actually deliver this to you. So, where to start? Nothing is impossible with God. Nothing is impossible with God. This is written in Luke, in Luke's Gospel, and basically it alludes to the fact that God can do pretty much whatever he likes. This tells us that God is omnipotent, and we have biblical evidence that says so. Biblical evidence in the Bible, in Luke, that nothing is impossible with God. But also, we only need to look at Genesis, which is the first book of the Bible, to see that God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh, to tell us that he is pretty, up there in terms of being a bit of a powerful geezer. So the Latin for that is omnipotent or omnipotent. And as I say, Christians have biblical evidence for embracing this notion of an omnipotent God. Christians also believe that God is benevolent or omnibenevolent. For example, in John's Gospel, another Gospel, it says, God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son. Okay, put it in plain English, God gave his only Son to die on the cross for humanity. This father-son relationship, normally quite a tight bond, and I'd imagine that was a pretty hard decision to do. So it does again point to the fact that God is not just omnipotent, but perhaps prepared to show compassion and love to humanity. We're also given evidence that also God is something called omniscience or omniscience, which again, an all-knowing God would have the capacity to create out of nothing. In the beginning, in Genesis, in the beginning there was nothing. And then God said, let there be light. It was just his will, nothing more. And actually there was something, just going from something, from nothing. Creato ex nihilo, you create out of nothing, which indicates both omnipotence and having the know-how, the knowledge to do that is pretty outstanding. Now, with unlimited power and authority, together with total love, God is believed to be perfect giver of justice. This not only includes deciding on the right and moral, right and wrong, but also being the perfect judge of human character. Now, it is for this reason that God and God alone can judge. We are all aware, or maybe not, of the individual who has the log in his eye, yet he is identifying that his neighbour has a speck of dust in his, criticising, well, you can only partially see. None of us have the capacity to judge. However, it is believed by Christians that God has. There is quite a major problem. Once you stick your flag in the sand, so to speak, and say God has got those qualities, what about evil? Where does that fit in? A loving God? Why would a loving God allow such bad things to happen? An all-powerful God surely would have the ability to be able to stop it. An omniscient God would have the foresight and see it and be able to stop it before it happens. Really? Really? Just to put that into context, bone cancer in children. Why would such a God allow such a thing to happen? There are insects that can burrow into the eyes and then out of the pupils. It begs the question: if such a God does exist, then how can he have these qualities? This is classic problem of evil, which we will get to later. But that is the nature of God. Guys, can I ask you please to make sure you're writing your notes, you take a photo of the work, email it to me, and good luck.